The other thing that you can do here is authenticate, but that involves going into the back end of your site and playing around in your DNS records. So if you want to do that, you can, and it's worth doing if you have the skills to hop around in the back end of your website, or if you have a good IT person who can do that for you. So that's set up the security on MailerLite. Let's just hop over to MailChimp and do the same thing. Your profile button is down here in the bottom left-hand corner. So we're clicking on that. We click on Profile. And then we go to Settings and then Security. In MailChimp, you can either use SMS or you can use the app kind of deal. I use SMS because it's easier. It's exactly the same thing, except it's sending a number to your phone instead of sending it through an app. So I use that one. You can use an Authenticator app if you want, the same kind of thing as Google Authenticator, and it works all the same way. So you download the app to your phone, click on the button, take a picture of the barcode, etc. If you use two-factor authentication in MailChimp, you get a discount on your account, so well worth doing in there. All right, the other thing then that we want to do in here is verify your email address. And the way we do that is from your account, profile, and then settings again, and then domains. And this works the same as well. Verify your email domain, put your email address in there, send verification email, follow the instructions, and it automatically does it. And you have this same authentication over here. Again, involves going into your back-end DNS records, which you can do, or you can get your IT person to do. So by setting those things up, you improve the deliverability of your emails, but it does involve accessing your hosting app. So that's why it doesn't like the Gmails and the Hotmails on the other one. MailChimp has a workaround for those emails, so that's why it's it accepts the other type of emails. All right, so the next thing, I'm just going to jump back again into MailerLite. We're going to look at how to set up an audience, and in order to set up an audience, all you need to do is click on subscribers. When you start up MailerLite, you get an automatic subscribers list added in. We're going to have a quick look at what fields it puts in there. Now, basically, this is just a database, just a table that holds the data that you get. And you get things like email, their first name, their last name, and then you can ask them for all this data as well. But you're better off just to stick with getting their email and their name. And the reason for doing that is because the more options you give them, the more likely they are to jump out. All right, so inside MailerLite, you already have a subscriber database waiting there for you to play with. On MailChimp, you have exactly the same thing, only they call it audience. So we go to audience. And then we're just going to click on all contacts. And you can see that they've got the same thing, email address, first name, last name, and then the address. This source field comes directly from BookFunnel for me, and it would come from Prolific Works or any of those other guys as well. So if somebody else imports it, if you set up the integrations and they automatically come in, it'll come in with the source. All right, so just creating a sign-up form is the last thing that we're going to do in these. So because we've already got a database sitting there, we want to have a form that people can access so that they can get onto your list, right? So we just click on forms at the top over here. We want an embedded form. So we just go create embedded form. Give your form a name. I'm just going to call this one test form and save and continue. You need to connect it to subscribe groups if you have them, which I do have. I'm just going to connect that one to my organic subscribers list. I suggest that you set these two groups up and you do that from subscribers and groups. And it's just a matter of putting the name of the group in. The reason for that is because then you can separate out your organic and your non-organic subscribers. This is what is currently going to show up if I put this particular sign up form anyway. So over here at the side here, I can mess around with what the colors are. I can do whatever color I want. Let's make it red. Yeah. And then you can change the color of the actual form as well. Let's make that pink. That looks beautiful. Anyway, so you can play around with all of those things inside here. Each one of those clicks does something different. You can change the text, you can change the colors. In settings, you need to look at the privacy policy things. If you have a privacy policy either on your website or sitting around somewhere, just give that a tick because it says, please review our privacy policy. If you don't have a privacy policy, don't tick that. But if you're going to be marketing to the UK and Europe, you have to do these marketing permissions. Yeah, exactly. You've got to do the GDPR compliance. And by doing the GDPR compliance, you're saying that you have a privacy policy. So you have to have a privacy policy. And our audiences as indie writers are not Australia. They're just not. They're USA and they're UK and they're Canada and then they're Australia. So you really do want to have a privacy policy. You can use just a generic one and we can discuss that further on Thursday in the Facebook group if you want a bit more information about that. All right, so my form is set up. I've got the marketing permissions. I've got a privacy policy. So we just click on next. And it thinks for a while. What I have found, for me at least, MailerLite is really slow at night. I don't know why. So you can see that we've got the design there. It's going to the organic subscribers list. And here is the actual URL, the address that you copy and paste to wherever you want the link to your form to be. If you want to embed your form inside your website, no, I'll go back a step. You can just put a click through on your website that will take you through to MailerLite and your form. If you want your website to actually have the form on it, you need to use these bits of information down here. And that again is going into the back end of your website. So you will need to get your IT guy to do that, or you can do it yourself if you are comfortable doing that. And that is all that there is to it. If you've done this, take a copy of that URL, this one here, because we'll be using it over on Facebook. In MailChimp, the sign-up forms are just as simple. You've gone into audience over at the side here, and it's got sign-up forms. And one is automatically created. So you're clicking on Form Builder. And as you can see, I already have a beautiful one here. That started off as grays and things, and I made it beautiful. As you can see over at the side here, you can change the different fields that are in there. You've got your GDPR there, but what you do is these two buttons here, build it and design it, are the ones where you can mess around with the colors and things. So you know what, I might actually make that pink. There we go, that's much better. And forms gives you all of the different internal things that you can play with. If you want to change any of the details of the actual fields themselves, you click on that and it gives you the field settings over here. All right, once you're done there, it's automatically saving as you're going along. To add the GDPR to that one, you go into your settings right next to sign up forms here and GDPR fields and fill that bit out. And you can see that you get your URL just there, just above it. If you're going to put your URL on just a Facebook post, don't use this Facebook button here. It just puts a really weird generic looking post on your Facebook, and you don't want to do that. It looks spammy. You want to go over to Facebook, make your own pretty sign up form, and then put the actual link inside that. What we're going to do now, exciting, is go over to Facebook, and I'll show you how to put the form on your Facebook page. So make sure if you're going to do this that you've copied down the URL. All right, let me just go over to Facebook. There we go. Should really go into my own page. Now, this won't work on your profile. So you need to be in your page. You need to have an author page. There's nothing else to say about that. You have to have an author page to do it. Now, mine says edit sign up here, but yours will say create a button or something similar to that. Let me just have a look what my notes tell me will actually be said in there. Okay, so it'll say add a button. So you click on that. You just click on it. I have to edit. You click on sign up down here, about 12, I think, on the list. And you just put that URL that you copied, you just paste that straight into there. You press save, and then you'll have a button on your form. You can check it by clicking on edit sign up and test button. And when I test this button, I go to my beautiful newsletter page on MailerLite. You want to check that as a person who's not you as well. So you could view as visitor. So when you click on view as visitor, it changes to what obviously this is going to look like. But make sure that you've updated your page because, sorry, not updated, that you've refreshed your screen, that you've refreshed your web browser, because I did this a couple of times and clicked the sign up button and it took me nowhere and I was tearing my hair out, but it was just because I hadn't refreshed the page. So now when I click the sign up button, it goes to that same lovely newsletter page.